Takže já vás tu vítám u hry, jak se to jmenovalo? Nějak The Colossus. Ok, já se kouknu. Dejte mě chvilku. Takhle se to jmenuje, jo. Colossus is coming. A uvidíme, jaký to bude. Měl by to být nejspíš nějaký takový horor menší. Měl by to být krátký. Na nějakých 30 minut, cca. Takže uvidíme, no. A je to divný. Nějaký shooter, nebo co to je? Socha? Jo, socha. Tady jsou nějaký hodiny. To je další socha. Ok, to máme první pásku. A asi jich tady ani víc nenajdem, si myslím. To vypadá, že s každou kazetou se asi budeme přeměstňovat teprve.
It's coming. Play the tapes.
Okay. It's coming. Play the tapes. To mám první. To mi chtěl říct, že tady je ještě nějaká nebo... Oni se zrodí další, když to pustíme.
So yeah, I was going for a walk the other day. It was nice out. It was a little bit cold, but not too bad. But on the walk, I came across the figure, maybe 20 feet away from me. He was really skinny, slender, just super tall. He was wearing all black. His eyes were kind of sunken in.
Počkat, ono se přemístilo.
Like he was hurt. Not like a physical hurt, but like torment.
A bylo tam, no.
He was all hunched over, looking at the ground. I yelled out to see if I can get his name, see if he was feeling okay, but there was no response. He didn't say anything. He didn't actually really acknowledge I was there. He just kept staring at the ground. So we stood there, about 20 feet between us. Seemed like a while. Not actually quite sure. I don't remember much. Then the weird thing happened. He just started walking towards me. There was no provocation. He just started walking. Quite slowly, that especially for a man of his stature. He didn't look up to see me, he didn't make eye contact, he just kept walking. I got this strange sense of unease, dread. And I'm not sure why, but I just turned around and started to run. I knew I had to get as far away from whatever this person was as I could. So I started running, and I felt like I was running fast. So I turned around to look at the figure, expecting to see something chasing me. But what I saw was just him walking. He didn't match my pace. He wasn't running after me. He just looked at the ground and kept walking. So I looked away. And I kept running.
Takže by nás něco tady potom nahánělo. A tady předtím takhle nebyla. Ona byla tamhle. Dobrý. So.
I don't exactly remember how long I'd run for, but it had to have been at least a half hour. I was really tired. I had to stop, and I came upon an old man, and he was sitting on a bench. He looked really peaceful and content. I asked him if I could join him sitting down, and he said yeah. So I sat next to the old man, and he asked me why I was running, and I told him. And he said that was a really silly reason to be running. I didn't really say anything back. I just kind of looked onward. He turned and told me not to be scared, and I told him I'd do my best. We sat there for a while without talking. Eventually he says, "Hey kid," and I say yeah. He says, "Do you see that over there?" And he raises his arm and points out a finger at nothing. And I say, "No, I don't." He relaxes and says, "Oh, never mind then." I just put my head down confused. I sat there and thought for a minute or two. But then I realized, I never actually got the guy's name. So I looked up and started to ask, but, I mean, like, just like that, the man was gone. I didn't know what to do at that point. So I just got up and started running again.
Okay. To tady předtím nebylo. Ta lepka. Ani tady tohoto. Vůbec bych se nedivil, kdyby tady byl nějaký jumpscare potom.
It felt like I was running with more force than I ever have in my entire life. My stomach burned, my chest felt like a drum. With every single step, I was packing down the dirt and throwing clouds behind me. I just couldn't stop. The momentum was too much. But no matter how fast I ran, it was always just walking. Anytime I turned my head, anytime I closed my eyes, he somehow gained ground. No matter what kind of lead I had or thought I had, whenever I looked back, he was right there. So I just stopped looking, and I kept running. I had to keep moving, one foot, then the other.
Okay. Proč je těch lebek tady nakonec víc? A nebo kostí? To je další kazeta. Okay. Tady nemůžu vyskočit, ale něco jsem tam slyšel, že tam spadlo nějaká flaška, nebo co to bylo. Mě tady víc těch lebek, co tak vidím. Tady ten kámen vypadá co divně, že tady nejspíš potom půjde projít. Nejspíš. Musíme další.
I was more tired than you could ever imagine. My heart was pounding. My chest felt like it was on fire. I just had to stop, catch my breath. I bent over, rested my hands on my knees. I was starting to feel a bit cold out. I pushed off from my knees and stared straight up. Then I turned around. The figure was still there, about 20 feet from me. He was still walking really slowly towards me, but I couldn't really bring myself to run anymore. I just stared at him as he walked up to me. But about 3 feet away from me, he just stopped. We made eye contact for a moment or two. His face was a lot softer than I remember. After that moment or two, the figure squatted down. He sat on the ground, his long legs crisscrossed. I had followed him. We just sat there, looking at each other. And then he looked at me, and he said, you know you don't have to run from me, right? His voice was a lot lighter than I expected. And I said, yeah. He asked me if I was scared, and I said, yeah. And then he asked me why. I thought for a moment. I just told him I didn't know. He told me that was okay, but that I really didn't have to be worried. And I said I know. He was really nice to talk to. We sat there for another moment or two, silent. Then the figure stood up, and I followed right behind him. He told me he'd be back to see me again someday, and I asked him when. He stopped, thought for a second, before turning back and simply responding with, someday. I said okay. Then he turned to leave, but before he could, I stopped him. Excuse me, sir, I asked. I never did quite catch your name. He turned back to me, and then he told me. Then he carried on his way.
A neřekl přesně
I
co.
watched his tall frame disappear into the distance until I was there all alone. I stood for a moment to take in the cold air. Then I figured I didn't really have much to be out there for anymore, so I turned around.
Okay. To je celkem nepříjemný zvuk. A to je celý? Ona se začne hýbat, ne? Ta figurína ještě řekni. Nebo bude za mnou. Jak se zvyslal. Nějaký jumpscare bude? No to nic. On the rush. OK. Trošku jsem to nějak moc nepochopil. Bylo to strašně moc krátký, což jsem říkal, ale i tak. Jako bylo to celkem. Jsem tam. Jak to říct? Ty zvuky nějaký tam byly dobrý, že fakt byly takový, že nahání hrůzu. Ale jinak jsem čekal, že to bude mít něco víc akčního, ale nakonec to nemá, takže škoda. Takže zatím čus a uvidíme se příště u další hororovky nebo u Konga. Čus. Au, špatný tlačítko. A je znovu čus.